Hi, I'm Dr. Paul. Today I'm going to talk about depression and how to cope. Depression and the courage to continue. Depression, what is it really? Depression is one of the quietest battles a human being can face. It does not always appear dramatic or visible to the outside world. Sometimes it looks like silence at the dinner table, unanswered messages, sleepless nights, emotional numbness, or a smile carefully worn to hide exhaustion. It often is misunderstood because people assume pain must always look broken on the surface. Yet many who suffer from depression continue working, raising families, attending school, and fulfilling responsibilities while privately carrying emotional storms within them. Depression is more than sadness. Sadness is a natural emotional response that eventually moves and changes. Depression, however, can feel like emotional gravity, pulling the mind downward for weeks, months, or even years. It affects your energy, your motivation, concentration, appetite, sleep, relationships, self-worth, and hope itself. A person experiencing depression may not merely feel unhappy, they may feel disconnected from life entirely. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once wrote, "The greatest hazard of all, losing oneself, can occur very quietly in the world." Depression often causes a person to lose connection with themselves. Things once loved no longer bring joy. Passions fade. Motivation weakens. Life can begin to feel mechanical and colorless. The world continues moving while the depressed person feels emotionally frozen within it. One of the greatest misconceptions about depression is the belief that it is simply weakness or negativity. I have frequently heard over the years in my clinical practice people say, "My family says I need to pull myself up by my bootstraps." But that is simply not true. Who is most often affected by depression? In reality, depression can affect anyone: artists, leaders, athletes, parents, students, entrepreneurs, and even those who appear successful outwardly. Many individuals who seem strong to others are privately fighting emotional battles that no one else sees. The writer Ernest Hemingway, who is believed to have fought recurrent depression, famously said, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong at the broken places." What causes depression? Human beings are not immune to emotional suffering. Pain is part of existence. Trauma, grief, loneliness, rejection, emotional neglect, chronic stress, disappointment, biological factors, and unresolved wounds can all contribute to depression. Sometimes depression emerges after a major life event, and other times it appears without any obvious external reason. This unpredictability often makes sufferers feel even more confused and isolated. Depression, thoughts, and perception. One of the cruelest effects of depression is how it changes perception. Depression acts like a dark lens through which everything is interpreted negatively. The mind begins producing distorted beliefs. I am not enough. No one cares. I will never feel better. My future is hopeless. These thoughts can feel absolutely true in the moment. Yet depression often convinces people to mistake emotional states for permanent reality. This is one of the most important coping skills in learning not to believe every thought the mind produces. The psychologist Aaron Beck, one of the pioneers of cognitive therapy, emphasized how distorted thinking patterns contribute to depression. He stated that unfortunately, the way you think determines the way you feel. When people repeatedly reinforce hopeless thoughts, those beliefs deepen emotional suffering. Effective coping begins by challenging destructive internal narratives rather than automatically accepting them as truth. For example, instead of saying, "I always fail," a healthier reframing may become, "I have experienced failure, but I have also survived difficult moments before." This may sound simple, but language shapes emotional reality. Thoughts repeated consistently become mental pathways. Healing often begins with changing the internal dialogue from self-destruction to self-compassion. Importance of connection. Another essential way to cope with depression is through connection. Depression isolates people emotionally and socially. It tells them to withdraw, remain silent, and hide their pain. Yet isolation feeds suffering, while connection weakens it. Human beings are not designed to heal entirely alone. The author Brené Brown wrote, "Connection is why we're here. It is what gives purpose and meaning to our lives." Even one trustworthy relationship can become a lifeline during depression. Speaking honestly with a therapist, trusted friend, family member, mentor, or support group can reduce the crushing feeling of emotional isolation. Healing does not always begin with solutions. Sometimes healing begins simply by being heard without judgment. Professional help. Professional therapy can also be profoundly effective. As stated previously, depression is not merely a lack of willpower. In many cases, it requires structured emotional support and psychological tools, which frequently includes cognitive behavioral therapy. Therapists help individuals recognize unhealthy thinking patterns, process unresolved pain, regulate emotions, and develop healthier coping mechanisms. For some people, medication may also play an important role in restoring balance and improving emotional stability. Seeking help is not weakness, it is wisdom. The ancient philosopher Marcus Aurelius observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This does not mean controlling emotions completely. Rather, it means learning to respond to emotional suffering consciously instead of surrendering entirely to despair. Depression may create feelings of darkness, but people can still choose actions that move them slowly toward healing. Additional coping strategies. One of the most effective coping strategies is creating small daily structure in your life. Depression often destroys motivation, making even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Therefore, recovery should not begin with massive expectations. Healing grows through small, consistent actions. Getting out of bed, taking a shower, drinking water, walking outside, eating nourishing food, answering one message, going to therapy, getting proper sleep. These may appear ordinary to others, but for someone struggling with depression, these actions can represent tremendous courage and a physical and psychological challenge. The psychologist William James once said, "Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action." Movement interrupts stagnation. Depression tends to immobilize the mind and body. Physical activity, even gentle walking, can significantly improve mood by reducing stress hormones and increasing beneficial brain chemicals. Exercise is not a magical cure, but it can become a powerful support system for emotional recovery. Nature also possesses remarkable healing qualities. Modern life often disconnects people from sunlight, fresh air, silence, and natural rhythms. Yet the human nervous system responds deeply to nature. Sitting beneath trees, listening to the rain, watching waves, or feeling sunlight on the skin can calm the overstimulated mind. Nature reminds people that seasons change, and emotional seasons are no different and they do too. Creativity is another profound coping mechanism. Depression traps emotions internally, where they often grow heavier. Writing, painting, poetry, music, photography, and journaling allow emotional energy to move outward instead of remaining buried inside. Many people discover parts of themselves through creative expression that words alone cannot fully explain. The artist Vincent van Gogh once wrote, "There is peace even in the storm." Van Gogh himself struggled deeply with emotional suffering, yet his art became a timeless expression of beauty emerging from pain. Creativity does not erase suffering, but it can transform suffering into meaning. Purpose is another critical element in coping with depression. One of the most dangerous aspects of depression is emptiness. The feeling that nothing matters anymore. The need for meaning and purpose. Human beings need meaning as much as they need food or shelter. Purpose does not necessarily mean fame, wealth, or achievement. Sometimes purpose is found in simple acts of service, love, growth, learning, or contribution. The psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl, famously wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." Frankl believed meaning could sustain people even through immense suffering. When individuals reconnect with purpose, depression loses some of its power to convince them that life is empty. Depression and spirituality. Spirituality can also provide strength during depression, whether through prayer, meditation, faith, contemplation, or connection to something greater than oneself. Spirituality often reminds people that they are more than their present emotional pain. Many individuals find comfort in believing that suffering is part of growth, rather than proof of worthlessness, and find ways to tap into the positive, life-sustaining energies in the universe through their religious and spiritual experiences. The need for compassion. Another essential aspect of healing is self-compassion. Many people suffering from depression become extraordinarily harsh toward themselves. They criticize themselves for struggling, compare themselves to others, and feel ashamed for not functioning perfectly. Yet shame rarely heals emotional wounds. Compassion does. The spiritual teacher Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully stated, "My action is my only true belonging." Healing often begins not with dramatic transformation, but with gentle daily acts of care toward oneself. Depression teaches self-rejection. Recovery teaches self-acceptance. Healing is not linear. It is also important to understand that healing is rarely linear. There may be progress followed by setbacks. Good days may suddenly give way to difficult ones again. This does not mean failure. Emotional healing unfolds gradually, often in layers. Recovery is not about becoming permanently happy every moment of your life. It is about regaining the ability to experience hope, meaning, connection, and emotional resilience again. The thought distortion of forever. People surviving depression should remember something profoundly important. Feelings are temporary, even when they feel eternal. Countless individuals who once believed they would never smile again have eventually rediscovered peace, love, creativity, purpose, and joy. The depressed mind often cannot imagine a brighter future. But temporary emotional states are not permanent identities. The poet Rumi wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Some concluding thoughts. Pain can deepen empathy, wisdom, compassion, and self-understanding. This does not glorify suffering, but it recognizes the extraordinary resilience within human beings. Some people emerge from depression with greater emotional depth and a more authentic understanding of themselves and others. Hope is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes hope is quiet persistence. Sometimes it is surviving another day. Sometimes it is asking for help. Sometimes it is simply refusing to give up. Depression may cloud the sky of the mind, but clouds do not erase the existence of the sun. Beneath emotional exhaustion, confusion, sadness, and numbness, there remains a human spirit capable of healing and renewal. Recovery is not about becoming someone entirely new. It is about rediscovering the self that pain temporarily concealed. And perhaps the most powerful truth of all of this is that no matter how dark the sky becomes, it has always been followed by another day, and that the human heart still carries the capacity to heal, connect, and begin again. This brings me to a final thought that depression is not proof that the soul is broken. It is often the soul's cry for rest, healing, meaning, and reconnection. And the moment we choose to keep walking through the darkness, we begin teaching ourselves that light still exists beyond it. Paul Susic, PhD. Thank you once again for watching my video, and please like this video and subscribe if you will, and keep coming back for more. Thank you.